Farms in deep red Texas are shut down, and Donald Trump is the reason. Now, as you know, Donald Trump has shifted ICE from focusing on criminal immigrants to going after easier targets such as job sites to pump his numbers up. But farms are hurting because of this, as many of their workers are either being deported or not showing up for fear of being caught up in these raids. And because of this, they're essentially shut down and no work can be done. Just take a listen to one farmer.
3 weeks it started to slow, but this last week or so has been huge. That's when it's like zero people wanting to come out and
zero people going to work the farms. And while yes, these farmers are in the find out phase, we're all going to be in it, because they're talking that our food supply is going to be shut down or have major interruptions. And it's not just Texas, it's California and Washington. We are finding out that yes, immigrants do help the American economy. Immigrants are part of the American fabric. We just didn't realize it till it was too late.
Immigrants, migrant workers, whether documented or undocumented, are afraid to go to work each day because they're afraid to be detained illegally by ICE agents for a duration of time or just deported out of the country without due process. And nothing is showing that more than this right here. That's right, because farms in Texas have now started to shut down because they don't have the workforce to actually maintain the farms. That's right. So the food that we get and all of the livestock produce that we get, everything is starting to stop. Why? Because we don't have people to actually go and work these farms. And I'm pretty sure that the, Jenny Craig type 2 diabetes American citizens that are sitting around complaining about the immigrants aren't going to get up and start working on the farms anytime soon. So while they're all sitting here pointing their fingers about how immigrants and migrant workers are criminals, the food that we're supposed to be getting from all of these farms is now sitting there rotting. All of the animals that were supposed to be turned into meat products for us to consume is now...
Oh no, this is so sad. There are a bunch of white Texas farmers who are losing their farms right now. Because guess what? 100% of their workforce vanished. Wow. So all those people, who got eyes called on them, they were working on the farms. So now that they're gone, they cannot sustain the farms. You know what's crazy about this video? Because I talked about this like 2 months ago when Trump brought over all these South Afrikaners, farm people, where we find out that they were not really even farmers. And I was talking about this and found out that a few of our dear white farmers here had started losing their farms because of promises that were made to them and was not kept by this administration. So now it's trickling down to some other farmers because now their workforce, they're gone. And I was seeing somewhere where somebody came over, and it was a Caucasian man. He came over from Twitter, and he was like, y'all, a lot of these farmers, white farmers, they thought that Black people were going to come and work for their farms. There's a lot going on in this country right now. Us heading into possibly World War II. But this is a conversation just to kind of talk about right now. That people are kind of seeing I guess, what's the word? I can't even find the word, but the decisions that they made, they are coming back to hunt them. Let's just say that. So sorry to hear this, but yeah. So I do hope that some of these Native Americans that did lose their lands, that they do get back some of these farms that are being lost.
He's talking about how farmers are crying because they're losing workers, because Trump and his Homeland Security and his ICE are either imprisoning the workers in detention centers or deporting them. And he is going to give the farmers ownership of the immigrants so that they don't lose out on their workers. Tell me that is not chattel slavery.
Some of the farmers, they've had people working for them for years. And we're going to do something. We're working with Christie and we're going to do something that we're going to sort of put the farmers in charge. And if a farmer's been with one of these people that work so hard, they bend over all day. We don't have too many people can do that, but they work very hard and they know them very well. And some of the farmers are literally, they cry when they see this happen. If a farmer is willing to vouch for these people in some way, Christy, I think we're going to have to just say that's going to be good, right? We're going to be good with it, because we don't want to do it where we take all of the workers off the farms. We want the farms to do great like they're doing right now. So Christy Noem has done a fantastic job. And
So he can't come out and actually admit it's slavery, but he's disguising it with ownership rights. The farmers are going to be responsible over the immigrants/workers. So we don't recognize you as human beings, but we need you to continue to work for us. We are going backwards. So we have evolved from modern slavery back to chattel slavery, and now we are just disguising it with modern terminology.
This is what economists call a supply shock, and it was entirely predictable. American agriculture has depended on immigrant labor, documented and undocumented, for decades. Not because employers preferred it, but because the work is physically demanding, seasonally intense, and pays at levels that have not attracted sufficient domestic labor at any point in recent memory. When enforcement policy shifts from targeting criminal activity to maximizing deportation numbers through workplace raids, the agricultural sector absorbs the consequences almost immediately because farming operates on biological timelines that don't pause for policy adjustments. Planting and harvest seasons wait for no executive order. The worker who doesn't show up in March means empty shelves in September. The livestock that goes untended this week becomes a food supply problem next month. The political coalition that most loudly demanded these deportations has not produced a replacement workforce.
This is breaking news. Texas farmers are sounding the alarm on this tariff war. And in more breaking news, nobody cares. Yeah, I don't know if it's just me or maybe it's some of you too, but as far as farmers sounding the alarm, I don't care. I have to admit, I don't care at all, because the last time Donald Trump was president, 100,000 farmers across the country lost their farms. Yeah. So overwhelmingly, farmers voted for this man again, knowing full well of his history the last time he was president. So from me to you, farmers, I don't care. I don't care how bad things get for you. I don't care if you lose your farm. I don't care if I don't care. At least I don't care to hear about it. I really don't. Because this is exactly what you voted for. And you're going to get what you voted for. You're going to get 4 more years of Donald Trump not giving a damn about farmers whatsoever. So, enjoy.
So we're now seeing multiple farm closures in Texas. With all of the discussions that were had about the effects of the deportation on farms and the service industry, we're talking planting season, which is all around March, April. The season where you're taking care of your plant, you're making sure there's no, weeding, bugs eating it, all of the things, birds, rabbits, all of that. So you got to take care of that. And now we're in harvest season, very near harvest season. But there's nothing, no executive order, nothing to remedy this, when the remedy should have happened on or around May, latest June. So all of these farms are now closing down.
A farmer who is going super viral right now because he's making many videos about how he's in trouble due to the current administration and how he might lose his farm, which is, of course, devastating, and nobody wants to lose their farm. And if you look at the comment section and you look at his follow-up videos, it's abundantly clear that he never bothered to consider Project 2025 or the plans that Trump clearly had for small farmers. How long were we sounding the alarm bells for Project 2025? How many videos have I personally made educating people on Project 2025? It is devastating and not at all surprising how you all voted against your own interests and now you're complaining about it. We told you.
The proposal described here, giving farmers a form of
America already has labor shortages, housing shortages, rising inflation, expensive food, super expensive construction, super expensive rent, delayed infrastructure projects, and we're deporting immigrant workers at a record number at the same time. Who pours concrete? Who frames houses? Who installs roofs? Who tiles bathrooms? Who picks the crops that you eat? Who works food processing? Who works at the warehouses? Who cleans hotels? Who rebuilds cities after hurricanes and fires? Meanwhile, everybody's online screaming, why are homes so expensive? Why? Because reality matters. You cannot have labor shortages, tariffs increasing material costs, fewer workers, deportations, higher interest rates, and somehow expect housing prices to magically collapse. And this goes way beyond construction. Agriculture, restaurants, hotels, landscaping, warehouses, factories, elder care. Who's going to take care of our old people? America, whether you like it or not, has become dependent on immigrant labor, and it happened decades ago. And now people say, well, Americans are going to do these jobs. Okay, where are they? The unemployment rate in most skilled trades is super low. There are not millions of unemployed roofers, welders, drywall installers, masons, farm workers sitting home waiting to start work tomorrow. The workforce does not magically appear overnight after you kick everybody out. And now economists are warning something called a labor shock, meaning too many workers disappearing too fast. So what happens after a labor shock? Prices skyrocket. Food costs skyrocket, housing costs skyrocket, project stalls, businesses panic, inflation goes crazy. So this is no longer an immigration issue. You don't like standing next to somebody who doesn't look like you, sound like you, act like you. This is becoming an economic issue for every American.
Farmers as a demographic voted for Trump in substantial majorities across both of his winning elections, including through a first term that saw significant farm bankruptcies driven partly by his own trade war with China. The argument that this outcome was foreseeable is supported by the historical record. The agricultural calendar is unforgiving. A plant not tended in June cannot be saved in August. A harvest not completed in September is simply lost. And when you layer a labor shortage onto an export collapse, because tariffs have pushed China to source beef and soybeans from other countries, American farmers face simultaneous pressure from both sides. Nobody to grow the food and fewer buyers for what they can grow. The people who will feel this most acutely aren't the farmers. They're the consumers at the bottom of the income scale for whom food price increases are not an inconvenience, but a genuine crisis.
All these damn illegal aliens taking over American jobs, it ain't right because they're all criminals, you know. That's why we need a strong leader that'll put Americans first. That's why I voted for him, because he said he's going to deport all them illegal aliens, okay? Because I'm a proud American farmer. I don't need no illegal immigrants taking over my jobs. Ain't that right, Jose? Jose? Juan? Pedro? Where did y'all go? Hey, where did they go?
They left.
Why did they leave? They got work to do.
Because they were illegal, and you voted for the guy that wants to deport them. Not really the most stable working environment.
What? But I need their cheap labor to make my thin profit margins to make sense financially.
Well, you should have thought about that, because now you're going to have to hire Americans, and they're going to unionize and ask for higher wages and eat into those profit margins.
Wait, are you saying that I have to face the consequences of my own actions? Because we can't afford this. We're all going to be bankrupt in 2 quarters.
Funny how life works that way.
We're here. We are here at the FAFO stage. This is really bad. And if you appreciate my content, please engage with this video. I'm just going to read this to you. Multiple Texas farms shut down after almost 100% of workforce vanishes overnight. In a stunningly swift overnight change, some Texas farm operations had to shut down after losing virtually all of their workforce, an exodus triggered by the increase in immigration raids and increased enforcement. The ripple effects of these raids are the gift that keeps on giving and will be felt nationwide. Unpicked crops are now left unharvested. Livestock were left untended, and rural economies are on edge. The story isn't just a tale of woe for Texas farms. It's a warning for American agribusiness, food prices, and communities that keep food on our plates. I need you to share.
It's Joe from Georgia, so this is news out of Texas. But folks, these are alarm bells ringing for the entire United States, and our government is not listening. Overnight, multiple farms in the state of Texas completely shut down. And the reason for this shutdown was because they have lost almost 100% of their workforce. Now, we know this is the result of the immigration raids and stricter enforcement, but the ripple effect is going to be felt all the way across this country. Now, you've got crops that are rotting in the fields. You have livestock that is not being attended to at all. And that takes a lot of personnel. And we're talking, so now we're getting every area of food to include meat. And the communities that surround these farms, those businesses.
Next up on the FAFO tour, Texas farmers. One day, these farms in Texas had hundreds of workers tending the fields and the livestock, and the very next day, all of those workers are gone. That's what has happened in Texas. And entire fields of crops are being left to rot because there's no one to pick them. Livestock, like dairy cows, that have to be milked twice a day when they're lactating, there's no one to tend to them. These farms are going to go under. And it's not going to just affect Texas farmers. This is going to affect the breadbasket of the nation very soon. Most of these farmers voted for the felon in chief. And now they are reaping what they have sown, quite literally. Is America great yet? And all of these red-faced.
When two people in different states, one in Texas, one in Georgia, are reading the same report and calling it an emergency that their government is not responding to, the story has moved beyond regional agriculture news into something with national implications. The phrase, farm collapse doesn't stay on the farm. The businesses that supply farms equipment, feed, fuel lose customers. The restaurants and grocery distributors that buy from farms lose product. The rural towns where farm workers spend their wages lose economic activity. And all of this is happening simultaneously with tariff-driven import cost increases, meaning the food that can no longer be efficiently grown domestically also costs more to replace from abroad.